What's up, my boy?
From that city with juice, ain't no pity or truces. When we dip and gun smoke's conclusive. Don't act clueless, hella foolish in the 90s. And GP shotgun when we ride. Solid on the yard, name hard on these streets. Dim my crimes, gangster rhymes on dope beats. Still fuck laws, ain't no pause in our demeanor. Rest in peace, Muggsy and my road dog creeper. Ways to put it down, no fear of new cases. Years ago, though, it was guns and chases. 714 on my shoulders, kept it active. Roll like soldiers, G-code ain't passive. Still macking ratchet, still packed at the waist. Still stacking racks, still flash when they hate. Now it's podcasts and videos with pretty hoes. Me and George banging orange till the city's known, really though.
OG way. We keep it moving smooth like every day. Every day. They gonna know that homie, we don't play. It's going down for sure, for sure.
Real G's in this industry.
So they gon' know how we do it on these streets for sure. Streets for sure. We make that green, don't you know, loco? We making moves all day, all day, all day, all day.
Grew up in the streets of the LB. We don't love these hoes, what they tell me. Packed up and moved to the OC. Me and George ballin' like Shaq and Kobe. Fuck bitches, get money, living wealthy. Bad bitches screaming, let me get a selfie. Big stop, GP, some real G's. Side dick is the general of an army. XG podcasting in the morning. Don't say F, here's your warning. That other bullshit be boring. With some goofy ass question that's corny. Tommy, let me finish my story. Shooting shots, game 6, rubber orange. Smoking blunts in the bus while I'm touring. Now welcome to George Perez Stories.
OG way. We keep it moving smooth like every day. Every day. They gonna know that homie, we don't play. It's going down for sure, for sure.
Real G's in this industry.
So they gon' know how we do it on these streets for sure. Streets for sure. We make that green, don't you know, loco? We making moves all day, all day, all day, all day.
Welcome to the George Perez Stories.
What's up, my boy? George Perez right here of George Perez Stories, episode 283. George Perez Stories is brought to you by JB's Tree Service Landscape and Installation. Look, guys, all the workers have papers, so if the cops come, they're still going to be able to mow the lawn. They do landscaping, tree trimming, stump removal, tree removal, irrigation, and they also give free estimates. Please hit up JB's Tree Service on Instagram at JMBARRIOS_12. No underscore. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in a great journey, through comedy, a little bit of acting, and my new job lets me land to people that I used to look up to as a little kid. And one of my biggest accomplishments will be today to meet someone that's come from where he's come. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Panama, Popeye from Blood In, Blood Out, Ortiz from Speed, and I learned something new today. Give it up for Carlos Carrasco. Thank you so much for coming through, Carlos.
Hey, what's up, my boy? I wanted to say that.
Thank you. It's like a Chicano thing. Like where I grew up, everybody be like, "What's up, my boy?"
All right.
Yeah.
You know what a Panamanian thing is?
No.
Que sopa.
Que sopa?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like soup?
No, because you know what they do? They reverse syllables. So basically it means que pasó.
Oh.
And for a bunch of years it was, hey, que pasó, friend. And then a few years ago it got turned around and now it's que sopa.
Yeah, that sounded like Angel Chichi Salazar right there.
All right, okay.
Que sopa.
Yeah.
So you're born in Panama?
Yes, sir. I am a native, born and bred in Panama. I came to the States when I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was all grown up.
And how was the journey from you coming from Panama? You went to New York first, you know?
No.
Okay.
So the question is, how did I get from Panama to the U.S.?
Yes.
All right, here's your first story.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I grew up in Panama, and then I got hooked in theater, when I was I went to a Catholic school, and the first time I ever set foot on a stage, I must have been about 12 years old or something like that. I was going to a Catholic school run by American nuns.
Wow.
It was a tiny little school, but it was great. We all had a good
strict
time.
environment.
Oh, the nuns, tu sabe, and that was back in the day. In the
no
old
camera.
days. No, and it's like you did what, and the ruler and the thing, and you cussed. We're gonna put soap in your mouth, and you're gonna stand in the. It was old school, Catholic school. But they were nice nuns. We had fun. I mean, it was. I still keep in touch with them.
Wow.
Really? Yes, sir. I went to the same tiny little Catholic school from grade 1 through 12.
Oh, wow.
Basically with the same group of people, the same group of kids, and it was a small school, so there weren't that many of us. And to this day, we still keep in touch. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah, every time I go to Panama, they call me up and go, "Hey, Carlos, que sopa?" Anyway, that's how I got into theater, because one year, one of the nuns comes to me and says, "Guess what? We're doing a play this Christmas, and you're going to be in it." And that's the end of the story. So I got cast in this thing that was called Amal and the Night Visitors. It's a little operetta about a little boy with a crutch, and his mom is an innkeeper back in the day, in old Jerusalem. And it's the night when there's a knock on the door. He opens the door, and it's the 3 wise men.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and then things happen. But they said, "You're playing Amal." And I did. And that was my first time on stage.
Amado?
Amal was
Amal.
Ahmal.
Okay, and that's the lead.
That's the lead.
Wow.
Name of the play, Amal and the Night Visitors. So that was my, first introduction to theater and being in front of an audience. And I was like, hey, I like this shit, man. I want to do some more of this. But way back then, there wasn't a whole hell of a lot to do.
No.
Back in Panama, there was nothing. Now, so I finished high school, and then I wanted to go I started junior college at an American college, because that was back in the day when the Americans had the Panama Canal, and they ran the whole thing.
Yeah, we had an embassy over there.
You had embassies. You had like a whole little American community down there, taking care of the canal. And they had a school system, which included a junior college. So I talked my parents into matriculating me in the American Junior College in Panama. I went there for 2 years, and it was the first time I really got to have a real drama teacher, real coach, and really do plays, with rehearsals and stuff. This man turned out to be one of the most important people in my life, really, for real, because he changed my life. He took a liking to me. He was my mentor. He was my big brother. He became my best friend, my drinking buddy, all of that. About 2 years into that relationship, he calls me into his office one day. He goes, "Hey, what are you going to do with your life, man? Because, this is a junior college, and you're kind of done here, and I think you're very talented. I think you should go out into the big world. Have you ever thought about going to the States? Spread those wings." And I'm like, because he's like, "Hey, man, this was I was a hippie."
No way. Long hair?
In the day, yeah. I had a fro, bro. I had the Jimi Hendrix look.
Okay.
And, Panama, Panama is famous for many things, including, a certain substance. So, and this was back in the day when all of that shit
was. So it was very active. Cocaine.
Not cocaine, no. It was, we were innocent. Looking back now, we were so innocent. We used to smoke pot, man.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, heavy. So he's like, "What are you going to do, man? Just stay here in Panama and do plays and get high, on the beach?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, like, what's wrong with that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, I think you're better." So he had dug out an application for a scholarship to a school in the States. And he said, "Okay, you and I are going to sit down. We're going to fill this out together," which we did. Mm-hmm. And then he sent it away. And then I went back to doing plays and smoking pot. And then several months later, he calls me up at home and he goes, "Guess what, buddy? You're going to the States. You got the scholarship." And it was a scholarship to a private women's college in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
So I left Panama to go be an actor at this college in the Midwest where it was a private school for rich ladies. There were 2,000 of them. They
knows the number.
I'll never forget the number because they had like a really
2,000.
They had a very strong like performing arts curricula. They had a strong dance department, theater department, film production department, and those are departments where you need men.
Exactly.
You know, when the ballerina jumps up, somebody's got to catch her coming down. So they had created this special tiny little allowance for scholarships for male students in their junior year in the performing arts. And when I went, and I got one of them, they gave me one long distance, sight unseen, all the way in Panama. I found out later it was on the strength of this great teacher's recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
And that brought me to the States. My first stop in the States was in Columbia, Missouri, at a place called Stevens College, where there were 2,000 wonderful young ladies and 8 of us guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And were the other guys from other countries as well?
No,
You were
I
the
was
only
the
one?
only foreign student. I
Okay.
was the only foreign student. Everybody else was American. And they had 4 guys in theater, which I was one, 3 guys in dance, and 3 guys in tech, you know, like doing, stage building and construction and stuff. And that's my story of how I came to the States.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Now, you coming from Panama and you're coming now to America, how's the caliber like when you go in there, can you see like, wow, me enseñaron mucho? Like, you know what I mean? Like from the Panama teachings to like, you came in like, have they done plays? Like, where was the level, the caliber of these other men that you got to go with?
Well, they were all very good. They were all very educated. But one thing that I really learned that really like surprised me or made me appreciate the quality of the education that I had gotten in Panama, because I was like in some ways more educated in certain disciplines than my peers.
Entiendo.
You know, nada que ver con, whatever, but it just was, I
Like
mean,
they
it's
got
like,
in trouble, you're like, we got hit.
No, but I mean, seriously, I'm talking about basic things like spelling. I'm like, oh, these dudes can't spell, man.
Wow, he can't spell either.
Yeah, there was a thing back in my time. There was something called penmanship that the nuns taught us. Did you ever take penmanship in school? That's how to write cursive. And
I'm
you
a
had all
cholo. I did it on the wall.
Oh, my God.
I was good.
So I get there, and I'm like, everybody's like, wow, you've got such great handwriting. And I'm like, yeah, doesn't everybody? And stuff like that. But, I mean, the level of education was different, However, my American peers were far more sophisticated than I was in terms of the theater arts and discipline and the literature of theater and the traditions of theater and everything. So it was, but I was thrilled, man. I was like, those were 2 of the best years of my life when I look back on them. They were rich. I was busy. I did so much stuff. And when you do this kind of craft performance and stuff like that, it's about the repetition.
Yes.
It's about learning and it's, and honing the craft and everything like that. And Stevens College really, really, really gave me a rock solid foundation.
That's great.
Yeah.
The first time I ever took drama was I was playing. I never wanted to be an actor or anything. I wanted to be a football player.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then my freshman year in high school, my coach was like, "Hey, man, we messed up. We can't get you in this class. You got to take drama."
Oh, okay.
But he was playing a prank on me because I was making everybody laugh in practice.
Right.
And then I went into drama. My teacher's name was Mr. Woods, and he pulled me to the side first day, and he goes, "Hey, are you going to be an actor when you get older?" And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You're this tough-looking guy that just changed your whole character, and then once it's done, you went back to you." I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, they're playing a prank on me, man.
Yeah.
And like, it's kind of sad I didn't pursue it because I was real good in sports. Pero later, me pegó.
Yeah?
Yeah, later
Yeah.
It hit me.
It was always there.
Yeah.
You spotted it.
Yeah. I felt that I was, I was a follower back then. I listened because people were like, "Hey, what do you?" It's kind of like the movie 21 Jump Street. Mm-hmm. In America, there's a society. And people were like, "Why is this captain of the football team hanging out with these nerdy actors and all that?" And like, it just gave me. It made it for when I came to Hollywood. It made me understand, like, hey, just because they're not tough like you, it doesn't mean
Right.
It was weird. I mean, but
So you did play football.
yeah, I was very good.
NFL?
No.
Soccer?
No,
What kind of football?
American.
Okay, that's what I mean. American football. Yeah,
yeah.
NFL style.
Yeah, NFL style.
What position?
I was outside linebacker and a receiver, and I was the backup quarterback.
Damn.
Yeah, and we went to like CIF. We were very good.
Right
And,
on.
but my family was like, este pinche, ¿por qué se dice football si no le pegas con la pata? Right? Why is it called football if you don't use your foot?
Yeah, I know.
And it was cool though because I got it from my mother. My mother was the funniest person I've ever met in my life, and the ambition. My mom was a construction worker.
Really?
She came out on that show, Cristina. Remember
Really?
Cristina?
Yeah, of
for
course.
one of the most working women of the year.
Wow.
I was a construction worker. She taught me how to pour concrete.
Right. Your mother taught you how to pour concrete. Damn, bro.
Oh, hey, you see, we got
Jesus.
the video.
Damn.
So,
What was your dad doing during all this?
oh, my dad, you don't even want to know.
He was an accountant.
No, my
What,
dad
you call
was.
him a travel agent?
Yeah, no, my dad was like a Mexican cartel before it was big, but Americanized.
Okay.
He had 5 wives, but stayed with my mom.
Okay.
Like and he worked for the register. He had 2 jobs, and then on the weekend he was a coyote,
Damn.
and he would use all our birth certificates to pass everybody over. And then he was hooking up, like his partner worked the linea where you
Yeah.
cross.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my dad was hooking up with his sister, and they were just raking in money. Wow. Yeah, and my dad was never told me he loved me. Just a serious, hardworking man. But he showed me like, hey, no matter what, I take care of my kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, my dad.
Now, you said before that you grew up in Wisconsin?
No, my dad grew up in Wyoming.
Oh, he grew up in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up right here in Orange, Santana. But remember this, my dad was, so we were in LA all the time, Pacoima. Like one time, me, him, and my mom got caught. She got caught bringing people over the border.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, so that was like it was a weird experience. And this is the best part, is my dad, when he crossed you over the border, he would give you a job. Like it wasn't like those coyotes now that are like,
Yeah, you're on your own.
yeah,
you know.
abusing.
Yeah, uh-huh.
No, like people still come up to me to this day, and they're like, "Hey, man, when my dad passed away, a lot of his friends were like, ¿Te acuerdas era niño? Cuando me pasamos?" And they were crying. They're like, "Your dad, man, he got us a job," and like, great man. I wish I knew more about him, Carlos. Like he kept to himself. When I want to hear stories about my dad, I got to go visit his sisters, and they're like, "No," and they're like, "You're just like him, but he was like tougher." And I was like, "I'm sorry that I'm funny." So now you're in Missouri, and there's Omnish out there, you know.
Yeah.
I've done comedy out there in Kansas, and what's the transition where Carlos breaks out from this theater? Like, because I know you had to go to New York. I know I know that's the big thing, you know.
Yeah. Okay. The rest of the story is that, okay, once I landed in Missouri, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the States. Oh, this is great. Because back then, that was a dream. Like, oh, my God, I would love to go to the States. I want to be in the States. And, of course, also having to do with the whole thing about, like, well, I want to be in movies. I want to be in theater. That you got to be in the States. So I was really excited to be there. Because then it became, how do I stay?
Oh wow! So they gave you a part-time visa.
Well, I had a student visa.
Okay.
That's how I came. You know, when you go to the embassy, you show them the papers. I have a scholarship, whatever. So I had a student visa.
And it's not sports.
You know. So now I'm in Missouri, and I'm in Missouri on a student visa, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to go back. But that means I either like go off the grid or I get another student visa. But that means you have to every fall have a certification from some higher education, someplace, an educational institution that they have accepted you and you're going there. So what I did, because Mama didn't raise dumb children either.
Of course.
Is that I figured it out, and so I would spend every year, I would go make it my business to go to the school, to the university library, and research scholarships, fellowships, any kind of financial aid, and apply and apply and apply. The first time, Mr. Lohman, my teacher, he got me in. The second time, I did it on my own. I did the research. I found I would identify schools and see scholarship programs they offered. Being a foreign student was a big help because
programs.
most universities have scholarships for foreign students. So I would do the applications, and it worked. I spent my first 6 years in the U.S. doing higher education.
What? I'm sorry. What's higher education?
University.
Oh,
University.
okay.
You know, so
Oh, wow.
Stevens. Well, I graduated from Stevens. I got my bachelor's degree at Stevens, but I'd already hooked up a graduate fellowship at the University of Illinois.
Wow.
And I went to the University of Illinois for a year.
Chicago?
You know, Champaign-Urbana, which is 130 miles south of Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So I went, and when I was at Illinois, I did the same thing, and I managed to land a fellowship by auditioning. There were a series of, there was something back then called the University Resident Theater Association, which was an organization for universities with really, really big theater departments who were big enough to have their own resident theater companies, like Yale.
Okay.
You know, when you talk about Yale, you always hear about Yale Rep. You know, Yale Rep is a professional, pretty semi-professional theater company made up of Yale University students. And that model exists in other universities around the country. And there was this organization called University Resident Theater Association that would hold national auditions representing those universities. And you had to audition locally, and then if you did the local, you made it to the regionals, and if you made the regionals, you made to the nationals.
It's like a sport.
It's like the draft.
Yeah.
It's like going to the draft.
Yeah.
And I made it all the way to the nationals, and when you audition, you do your stuff at the nationals, and basically your audience is the heads of theater departments from all around the country. And then when it's all done, all of the people who audition go out to the bulletin board, and they look on the bulletin board to see if you got drafted.
Yeah, like Rudy.
Yeah, you know. And that,
Sorry.
yeah, no, but it is.
I know.
You know? And that's how
There's no email or nada, ¿verdad?
No. We're talking back then, man.
Yeah.
And so I won a graduate fellowship in Detroit to be part of a theater company that was part of Wayne State University.
Okay.
So I went there for 3 years because by then I was waiting for my visa. I'd already applied for the green card and the thing. And
So much at stake.
that shit drags on and on and on. It took me 2 years because I didn't want to be in school anymore. You know?
Man, my dad would have got you.
Well, I didn't know you. I didn't know your dad back then. You know, but I mean, no, by the time I was in Detroit, I was already applying for like my real papers and stuff like that. Took over 2 years to get it done, man.
Wow,
You know,
congratulations.
So I had to stay in school.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to be in school anymore, but I stayed in school. And you had to keep taking classes and all this kind of stuff, you know. So I've taken a lot of classes.
I can imagine.
And training, too, because, that last stop in Detroit was basically almost to be a professional actor, but the company was a classical theater company. Wow. So to get in there, you had to be able to handle the language. You had to be able to do, and that's what I did.
I was going to commend you on that. Your vocabulary is super high.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, right or wrong.
I went to school for a long time.
Since he asked that, do you read a lot? Is
Do I?
that part of your vocabulary?
Yeah, well, I've always been a big reader. I like to read, but also when you study theater, I mean, there's a lot of literature. A lot of literature you got to get through.
Shakespeare. That's all I remember.
Well, that last stop of mine in Detroit, that was Shakespeare.
No way.
That company in Detroit is they specialize in doing the classics. So you had to pass that bar.
Romeo, Juliet.
I did Romeo. I played Romeo for 2 years.
Whoa.
In Detroit.
Wow.
Because that also company, that was, talk about the craft and the repetition and do it again and do it again and get back out there and do it again. That was really that was intense because It was what they refer to as a repertory company. What that means is that this comes from Europe. They still have the way they do theater over there. When you do repertory theater, you're in about 5 plays at the same time because they do them in rotation. So like what they do is at the beginning you start rehearsing and opening plays, but then they don't go away. They stay in the repertoire and they rotate. So like you might do Romeo and Juliet in the afternoon and then go to dinner and then come back that night and you're doing something by George Bernard Shaw or whatever, and then the next day you're doing whatever. Meanwhile, you're also rehearsing the next stuff. That's why I say you could be in like about 5 different productions at the same time.
A lot of lines.
Yeah, that's a lot of lines, bro.
A lot of lines.
That's a lot of memorizing, and that's a lot of talking, and that's a lot of speech. Ooh. And because it is that language, you really do have to learn them.
What was the hardest one for you at that time to adapt to?
Well, Romeo and Juliet was a big challenge because I had done a little bit of Shakespeare before then at the other universities and things like that. But that's not really what most theater departments do. They do the modern stuff, the contemporary stuff, the traditional stuff. Wayne State was highly specialized and totally focused on the classics. And the classics are a whole other animal.
You can imagine. And the expectations.
in terms of craft, in terms of training, in terms of whatever. And then I arrive there, and the very first thing I get thrown into is Romeo and Juliet. And I'm like, whoa, can I start with something little? Whatever, please, So that was challenging. That was because I was out there swimming in the deep end, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't know what I was doing because there are a whole lot of layers to doing that kind of material. But we can wrap around to this later, bro, because I know part of the reason why I'm here is because I played Popeye in Blood In, Blood Out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But over the years, I've heard comments, and on all the sites and stuff like that, and people leave comments. Recently, I read one that somebody says, in that first scene, is it me imagining things, or does Popeye sound like he's speaking in iambic pentameter? Which is how most.
Can you explain that?
We got a lot of cholos that listen to this. You lost half of these fuckers.
I'm one of those. I was gonna Google it right
now. Yeah. It's very simple.
You should have been Jaime Escalante.
No. Yeah, well,
stand up and
deliver. I tell you, man, it's like I went to school and it stuck.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
So did we. A lot of us went to school. Shit don't stick.
But it didn't stick. No. It's very simple. When you write poetry.
Okay.
Why do you call it poetry and not just, talking normally? And because poetry has a cadence.
Just like comedy.
Yeah. To be or not to be. That is the question. Just like
set
comedy
tag,
has
punchline, callback.
Right.
Watch out, Lee.
Yeah,
Keep
right.
going. I love it.
No. And so when in Shakespeare, when you look at poetry, most of Shakespeare is poetry. And the cadence in Shakespeare.
I'm catching it now. I get it now.
In 90% of Shakespeare, the cadence of the poetry is what is called iambic pentameter. What does that mean? It's not complicated. It means that every line of poetry has five phrases, okay? And each phrase or each word is made up of 2 what they call feet. 2 syllables.
Okay.
And the first syllable is soft, and the second syllable is where the stress goes. Ba-dang, 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 ba-dang. That's iambic pentameter. Ba-dang, 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 ba-dang. To be or not to be, that is the question.
Okay.
You see?
Yes.
So Shakespeare is not that complicated once you understand some of this stuff. Because when you're reading it and you're going, what is this? Is a word salad. And you go, wait a minute, apply the cadence to it. Because generally, the meaning, the important word, you know this, when you do comedy, what is the punchline? What's the important word?
Yeah.
Okay? And usually in Shakespeare, it's the one on the stress.
Okay, I got you.
So
now.
he's written it in for you.
Yes.
Again, like Romeo and Juliet, and he goes, but soft, what light through yonder wind dough breaks, because
Yep.
when he first sees Juliet. But it's in the cadence.
Now
I mean,
that
you don't
say-
say it like that.
But now that you say it like that, it's
understand.
easier to memorize
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. No, it's a big help when you're trying to
Yeah.
memorize that shit. Is you do it in the meter. You do
Yeah.
it in the meter. And also the meaning is there because the dude is saying, "Oh my God, who's that up there in that window?" But it's written in the meter because he goes, "But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? What light is shining through that window?" And he's built it into the meter of the poetry.
Ay, cabrón.
And
And then you do that in Blood In, Blood Out.
I did an interview. I sat down with Jimmy Baca, who is the writer of
Yeah,
Blood
he's
In,
the one
Blood
with the
Out.
hat with the little thing right here. And
Yeah.
he's a poet. I looked him
And
up.
he is a poet.
Sorry, I did a little research.
Dude is a poet. And
Yeah.
so he knows about what I'm talking about cadences and rhythms and poetry. Hey, cat.
Yeah, she has to.
Say a poem for us. Yeah.
No, she goes, "Hey, where'd you get that placa?" No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. But Jimmy and I
Uh-huh.
sat down one time, and really at the instigation of my partner, the lovely Rochelle.
The
sitting
lovely
over there.
Rochelle. The lovely Rochelle.
Yes, who is also a writer and a researcher and has become sort of my semi-manager. But she's had this thing for years about, like, we have to do a documentary about Blood In, Blood Out.
You do.
And we have to do a documentary.
You do.
Yes. And it's been happening in little chunks.
Increments. I understand you.
One of the chunks was that a few years ago, we hooked up with Jimmy and we flew to New Mexico to interview him, as part of the whole thing.
Yes, really.
And it ended up being both of us interviewing each other. We set up some cameras
I
and
like
stuff,
that.
and we got some footage, and we just talked. We eventually were able to edit it down to about a half an hour film that is online. You can find it online.
Oh, I need to. I will be posting the link, guys. We got you.
Yeah, it's called The Poet, Popeye and the Poet.
Sounds
and
like two cellies.
I know. Yeah. And basically, what kicked it off, the conversation was that Jimmy read a poem or whatever, and then we started talking about Blood In. He says, "Your character, is so popular, and it was then you did a wonderful performance." But he said to me, "How did you come up with that character? Where did those ideas come from? How did you do that?" And I went right back at him and I said, "Well, Jimmy, you tell me how you came up with that language. How did you write that stuff?"
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I said, because I'll tell you something, Jimmy, my process as an actor, what I have learned to do over the years, and all of this classical theater training and Shakespeare and stuff has to do with it, is that I really believe that a lot of the character and emotion and what is going on for the person in the scene is in the sound of the language.
You're teaching me how to be a better comedian right now.
Well-
Because it's all presentation. Like, when a comedian, I'm the producer, the actor, and the performer.
Right.
And now you're like, it's falling in my head of like, oh, I'm understanding why I'm so drawn to you. Because you're when you're in this movie, you're a gangster, you're a comic, and your theatrical level is so high, brother.
Well, a lot of that comes from. Isn't it ironic now? Now the secret is revealed. A lot of that is classical acting training.
Yeah.
Because what I explained to Jimmy is that I learned to, first of all, as a performer, to relax your body, train your voice, get your breathing in order and stuff like that, but all so that you can get to the point. It's kind of like, if you're playing the guitar and you're tearing off your big solo and stuff like that. In the moment that you're doing that, you can't be thinking, "Oh, where's the G? Where's the D? What fret do I go?"
Also memory.
You know that shit. You just know that, So it's like, it's what the flow can happen. So once you have trained yourself, you've trained your body, you've trained your voice, you've trained, your emotional responses, then you add to that really good writing. Kind of all you have to do is drop the sound of the words in, and then what bubbles back up is truth.
Spoken.
And I said that to Jimmy, and it clicked. because he's a poet.
Yeah.
And he went, damn, that's how I write. Because, you know, you often hear about writers like, don't change my words. Don't, you know, whatever. Because sometimes as actors, you know, we get a little sloppy or whatever. You know what, I'm going to say this instead of that, whatever. And then the writers get all really like upset and shit like that, you know. And with good reason, especially like the more refined the writing is. And once you get into poetry, bro, the choices of words were not accidental. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. There's a
I mean,
reason. It's a
yeah.
setup, like a joke.
Yeah.
It's taking you to another level.
You have to find the right word, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, in comedy, I've heard it say, like, some words are just funnier than others.
Yeah.
You know?
And just the way you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that like some things are funny. You know,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's like Cleveland to me is funnier than Pittsburgh. I mean,
You know what's crazy is everybody says that in comedy.
What?
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah. They're like, hey, Cleveland, if you're going on a plane, say you're going to Cleveland. People will laugh. That's crazy.
But Cleveland is funny.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, Cleveland is funnier than, say, Idaho. It's like, you know, some you're going to Idaho. Well, I mean, that's funny too. But you know what I'm saying? There are certain words that carry certain messages just in the sound of the words, you know, and stuff. So I'm just saying, all this conversation about Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, it feeds into Popeye. And Jimmy got it in that conversation because he said, that is so true, because when I'm writing poetry, I'm looking for the right sound.
Wow.
Because of the emotional reaction that it produces.
Yeah, I have a character that I play. It's a character I made up. I don't play her, but I do it on stage. And it's an older chola. Mm-hmm. And whenever she talks, she always rhymes because she has game.
Right.
So she's like, what's the deal, Happy Meal?
Yeah.
Pass the lighter, Street Fighter. Don't sweat it, bald-headed.
Oh, you
But
guys are way better on stage.
I know,
Like,
I
you
do it
get
way
into
better.
character.
I get
like,
into
yeah,
character, but I
yeah.
can't look.
I know.
This is Michael Jordan.
We're just having
right
an
here.
academic discussion here at the moment, you know.
Just let it know, people. You
We're
get a
not
better show at the show.
performers. Yeah.
Speaking of Popeye, did you meet? What was the name of the writer again? I forgot. Who
Jimmy.
wrote?
Was
Yeah,
that
Jimmy.
right? Jimmy Baca. Yeah.
Jimmy Baca. Did you meet him before you were like? How did you get casted for this character? How does this go into play? Por favor.
Okay. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. I
Yeah,
didn't want
go
to
ahead.
do it. I didn't want to do it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. I was in New York. Okay, we skipped a whole bunch of shit.
I'm
okay?
sorry.
How did I get from Detroit to New York?
You
to,
did
to
it.
L.A. You know what? No, but you know, okay.
Well, my dad's a coyote. He got us here fast.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. No, but I mean, you know, with the how did I get Popeye? Okay, I have to go back to New York.
Please.
Yeah, let's go back.
You do it.
Yeah, because okay, Michigan, Detroit, classical theater. Oh boy. Waiting for the visa, basically killing time, waiting for the visa,
I've been there.
hiding in academia.
You're still there.
Yeah, you're still waiting for the visa.
Oh, still waiting.
Yeah.
Still
Oh
waiting.
man, I am so glad that I'm not doing that nowadays. I mean, with the climate now and what's going
It's
on,
duro.
and oh my
Yeah.
God, I mean, you know, I can't imagine. Anyway, so I'm killing time in academia, waiting for the visa, spending it doing Shakespeare. Thing finally comes through. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I moved to New York because that's what you do when you're an actor. You either go to New York, you know, to be on Broadway, or you come out here to be in movies and whatever.
Or sitcoms.
Sitcom, whatever. At the time, I actually was married to a New Yorker. That didn't last. But when the decision came, she wanted to go home, whatever. So we went to New York to do theater. I started doing theater there in New York. I spent 13 years in New York.
And
13? It was a long time.
where, like, is it downtown Manhattan?
Oh, I lived in... you know where I lived in New York?
No.
They don't fuck with me, bro.
Harlem?
Hell's Kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard of it.
You know, that's no man's land.
Where's Hell's Kitchen?
Hell's Kitchen is Midtown, right off just west of the theater. It's not Hell's Kitchen anymore because everything is all gentrified.
I know where it is now. I know where it is now. When Will took us, one of my friends' dad owns a theater out there on Broadway.
Okay. Well, so you've been on 42nd Street.
Yes.
Okay, you're on 42nd Street. You walk west towards the river, and you get to like 8th Avenue, 9th Avenue, 10th Avenue, all that in there.
I didn't do too much of that walking.
Basically, in the 40s, like between 42nd Street and 50th Street, that's the core of it, and like between from Broadway down to the river, that's Hell's Kitchen. And for the longest time, that was Irish territory, because those were like where the sailors, dock workers used to live, those blue collar kind of guys and everything.
Yeah.
That was like the Italians. That was the original thing. And so Hell's Kitchen was heavy Italian. I mean Irish mafia. Did you ever see a movie with Sean Penn called? Oh Christ! The name just went out of my window. My mind. What was the name of that movie? State of Grace.
I think I have.
If you haven't, check it out.
I will. State of
movie.
Grace. Remind that everybody.
It's a great movie. Ed Harris, Sean Penn. What's his name?
Came out in 1999.
Yeah, great movie. Set in Hell's Kitchen, and it's about the Irish mafia in Hell's Kitchen. And whatever. So it was a tough neighborhood. Then the Puerto Ricans came, and so by the time I was there was a lot of heavy Puerto Ricans and stuff like that. But also, that's kind of like where all those streetwalkers and hookers and Chinese from 42nd Street and stuff, that's where they came from, was Hell's Kitchen. So I ended up in Hell's Kitchen.
Giuliani took it down,
Giuliani cleaned up
42nd
Street.
Yes.
Now it's Disneyland.
Yes.
Yeah. If you go to 42nd Street now, it's
I've been there now. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But not when you were there.
So anyway, I lived there for like a whole bunch of years. I did a whole lot of theater because that's what you do in New York. Mm-hmm. So a lot of continued the theater career and stuff. Made it all the way to Broadway. I was in one Broadway play. But while I was in New York, I got involved with an organization that fights for the Latino image. Mm-hmm. It's still there. It's called HOLA, Hispanic Organization of Latin Actors.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hola, pretties.
The stuff you hear people bitching about to this day, the latest thing right now is James Franco's going to play Fidel Castro. Oh, have you heard about this? And everybody's up in arms and posting on social media. And, oh, my God, it's not fair. And, because it was announced that James Franco is going to play Fidel Castro in a new movie, Well, and that's not fair. There's a lot of Latinos that can play those parts, yada, 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 yada. I'm a little tired with this shit because I've been fighting that fight since way back in those days. And, I've seen a lot of change, but I've also seen that a lot of shit stays the same.
Yes.
Back in my New York days, with that group called HOLA, I ended up running it for 6 years. It was a nonprofit group, and its mission
was the main focus of HOLA?
Advocacy for the Latino performers, their image, their job opportunities, all of that sort of thing. And a lot of it had to do with the image of the Latino in the industry and the way they're portrayed. We used to do things in HOLA first of all, we used to publish a player's guide of Latino talent.
Okay.
And we distribute it to all the casting directors. I used to publish a newsletter with news, casting opportunities, things like that. And when I joined HOLA, they were very militant, and they were literally doing things like picketing Broadway shows over the casting, But, I mean, some of it was come on, people. I remember there was a show that got announced and got produced on Broadway called Goodbye, Fidel. Okay, now just the title tells you, Fidel. No, we're back to Fidel Castro. And the story was about a whole bunch of rich Cubans during the revolution, and Fidel is coming, and he's marching up the hills, and he's burning up everything, the tobacco plantations. And all of these wealthy Cuban families, they're all sitting around going, ay, viene la revolución, ¿qué vamos a hacer, qué vamos a hacer? Okay, it was a huge cast, 15 people in the cast. And this thing opened on Broadway, and not one single Latino was in it. You know, it was puro gringo, puro gringo, puro gringo, you know, up there doing their best Cuban accents and stuff. I sat through a preview of it. I'll never forget. There was a moment, because, you know, they're trying to show that they're Latino characters. And there was a moment when you know, there was some discussion going on. And I hear one of the actors on stage go, "Ay, me cago en Dios." And I'm like, no, come on.
Yeah.
You cannot do that, please. So we picketed Goodbye Fidel.
Gracias.
All the
gracias.
Latino actors out there, you know, with their picket signs and stuff like that, because this is not fair, because we found out they did the research, and when they held the auditions, they didn't see a single Latino. And back in those days, the same thing that you hear today is like, but we don't know where they are. There's no Latino talent out there. You know,
Come on.
dude. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of over it, because I'm talking about 30-some years ago, and now here we are today
Again.
in 2022, and everybody's all upset because James Franco is playing Fidel Castro. You know what? You know, I remember also shortly after I moved out here, the Latino community here was all getting all up in arms because they had announced that the Frida Kahlo movie was finally going to get made. You know, and the New Line Cinema was going to make Frida Kahlo, this and that and the other, and Frida was going to be played by this Italian actress, you know, who, let's not even bring up her name. But it was like, and everybody went like, why? You're going to do a movie about Frida Kahlo? And you're not going to put a Latina in that role?
Yeah.
And so once again, I felt like a big flashback, because the community, I was...
It hurts.
I know. And the community here was organizing a big protest. And I was part of it. We all went and marched up and down in front of New Line Cinema with pancartas and stuff, like, you know, because same tired argument. They go, but there's nobody out there who can play this role. There are no Latina actresses that can play this role. And it was really funny, because as part of that whole protest, about 12 of our sisters dressed up like Frida.
And they were like, who's this?
Yeah, and they were, and so we had the picket line outside of New Line Cinema walking up and down, and all these Frida Kahlos were walking up and down as part of the picket line, because they say, there's no Latin talent. So, I mean, getting back around.
No, I'm
That's
keep
what,
going.
No, but I'm saying that when I moved to L.A.,
Yeah, when did you move to L.A.? What year?
in 89, 90, around there. And Blood In, Blood Out was in 92, around there, production-wise. But when I moved to New York, I was coming off of 6 years as executive director of this organization, fighting militantly for the image of the Latino and the positive image. And we can play doctors, too, and engineers and architects and lawyers. And then my manager sends me this script, says, "Hey, we have an audition for you for this thing." And I open it up, and it's like, "Hey, I want some chon chon. Give me your ass." And I'm like, "Are you shitting me?
Sorry.
Are you kidding? What have I been fighting against for like 6+ years and stuff?" So I said no.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I read like 2 pages, and I closed it. I said, I don't want to do this. I can't do this.
And it was a huge script, right? Because the original is 5 hours,
script.
you know?
It was an enormous script. Yeah. When we all, the rest of that story is that I said, I'm not interested. I'm not doing it. And I was doing pretty good right then, because I was doing other big projects. You know, I think I hadn't done Speed yet. But I mean, I was booking. I was doing stuff. So I said no, and I didn't go. I didn't go to the appointment, you know. And they're like, "Oh, really? Are you sure? It's Taylor Hackford, man. He's really big." It's like, no, I'm just don't, you know.
Yeah, there's some big actors in that movie.
Yes. So I let it pass, man. And then weeks went by. At least 2 months later, my agent calls me up again and says, "They still haven't cast that role, man. They're still looking. And, you know, and they want you to come in." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck me." You know. And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I told you before." And they said, no, there's been some rewrites. They've changed some stuff around. You know what? Take another look at it, man. I mean, it's like, you should just go and if for no other reason than to meet Taylor Hackford. You know, and I'm like, oh, I said, okay, fine, send this shit over. So I took a look at it again, and this time I read a little further in And I was like, okay, this is an interesting story.
It is.
It's like, wow, look at this, and there's stuff going on, and I read in far enough to cop to the fact that, it wasn't just a stereotypical Latinos are all gangsters and this and that and just another, like, in the hood kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's like, no, wait a minute, this thing has some substance here. Well, okay, I'll go. I'm still not crazy about, raping a guy in the first scene, but,
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, but I mean, come
Shit.
on.
But
I just played Romeo.
I know.
Now I gotta go in there and wave my thing around and still
I know.
So I'm like, okay, I will go because I'm a diplomat and I want to make everybody happy and I know this means a lot to my agent. So let's go. So I did, but I was still an asshole about it because I didn't prepare. And usually, when I have an audition for a film or something like that, I spend time on it like you're supposed
Exactly.
to. And you go through the stuff, and and so I like that when I walk in, I don't believe in being memorized because that's a trap, and I don't believe you should do auditions.
You have to freelance freedom or.
No, I mean, I think you should be familiar. You should know where you're going in the scene and stuff like that. But you know what? It's still an audition, so you're still going to be all nervous and shit like that. So yeah, don't try to jump off the cliff.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that I usually do fairly substantial preparation for an audition. This one, because I was thinking okay, I'm just going to acto de presencia. So I can say, look, I went, I met them, they didn't like me. Are you happy now? Let's move on.
So you weren't even trying to land the role, is what you're saying.
No.
That's all I hear. You went in there to show up and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep.
And
What was the first line you read?
well, so I get there, and it's Taylor, the director, and Miklo.
Oh wow.
It was the two of them because everything was pretty much cast by then.
And it's a Disney film, right?
It was a Disney movie. Yeah, it was. And another part of the incentive, though, the agents were because it was a 2-picture deal. Because, way in the beginning, it was going to be 2 movies.
Yeah, Edward J. Olmos was in the original.
No.
As a writer?
No.
This is the rumors I heard.
No. Eddie was always attached. Well, I don't know. Because, again, I'm the newcomer. I was not familiar with the Latino scene here. I was, whatever. So I'm literally practically fresh off the boat from New York. So I didn't know all of that other stuff, But I know that Eddie ended up directing the other film, the American Me, and that he was in that. If he ever crossed, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
know.
know.
Those are just rumors I heard.
I don't know any of that.
Okay,
But so I go in, I meet Taylor and I meet Miklo, and they're both really excited and stuff. Oh, thank you for coming. Oh my god. I'm like, oh hey, yeah, that's fine. And then Taylor goes why don't we read the first scene, and see how it goes. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. And literally, and reading is what I'm doing because, so we did the famous chon chon scene and, hey, and so we read the scene and we get to the end and Miklo is going to pee his pants. He's like, and he's so excited. And Taylor's like, great, that was good, man, that's good. You know what? Let's read the next scene. And I'm like, okay. And so we do. And then they keep going, and they're both being so nice and so positive. Miklo is beside himself. We read through the entire script.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
All of the Miklo and Popeye things. We did.
You guys have a connection, bro.
Well, so we read the entire thing, and then they're very nice. They're so, and Taylor is very good, blah, blah, blah. And then I walked out of there feeling like a real asshole. Because I'm like, oh, man, I didn't even step up for these people, and they were so nice.
So you were booked? The second you walked out, you're like, this is mine?
No. I just was beating myself up because I said,
You learned so many lessons.
Yeah. So I drove home. I'm home, whatever. And within an hour, that's when I found out. Because the phone rings. It's my agent. My agent says, Taylor Hackford wants to know if you will straighten your hair.
Oh, because you had the fro.
I didn't have the Jimi Hendrix look, but I'm an Afro-Latino. I got the curly hair.
Yes.
I'm not trying to hide it or nothing, you know. That's who I am, and
It's like they really don't want you to do this movie.
I know. So yeah.
They're making you do everything you don't want to do.
They're like, can you put glitter on?
Yeah, right. Yeah, will you wear a bra? will you wear red chones? You know, so my agent says, Taylor Hackford wants to know if you'll straighten your hair. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I said, why? He said, because if you will, he wants you to do the role.
Damn. Oh, wow. An ultimatum.
Yeah. And at that point, then the math kicks in because you're like, yeah. So wait a minute, it's a 2-picture deal, huh? Oh my God, it's the major monster of Disney. And I'm like, okay, where's the hairdresser? And that's how I got it.
Oh wow!
You know, I mean, it's like kicking and screaming and doing everything possible to like go away, leave me alone. And you know what? I'm glad I did.
Thank you. I'm glad you did too.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, no. Really, I'm glad I did. Even though it's been a bumpy road, because I'm sure you've heard the whole story about how then it didn't do well, and
it did great on DVD.
But we had to wait. We had to wait.
Well, Raza didn't have money to go to the theaters.
No. You heard the whole story about the
Scarface did horrible too in theaters.
See, Papi, pero you heard about the L.A. riots and all that shit.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and it did not help that there were 2 movies out at the same time, basically about the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, speaking of Edward James Olmos, you know, much respect to all of them and everything. Yeah. But the 2 films, Blood In, Blood Out and American Me, and this is so typical of Hollywood. You know, no studio makes a pirate movie for 10 years, and then all of a sudden one studio announces a pirate movie, and everybody's making a pirate movie. You know, and that happened with that movie because suddenly there were 2 movies about the Mexican gangs and the Chicano hoods and the thing and all that, you know, at the same time. And not only that, but there were so many similarities in them because one of them shared a writer. The one writer that had worked on both of them.
Yes,
you know, so
you can see it.
Yeah. So he had carried, plus the original story at the core about, you know, La M and all that kind of stuff. That's real. You know, that those characters are real.
Yes.
You know? So suddenly there's 2 movies competing for the same audience. You know,
wow, I didn't even think about it how you're saying it right now.
Well, you know,
we were just happy to get 2 pictures of us.
No, I understand that.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
though.
but when you look at
triggered something.
Yeah, but when you look at it from the marketing standpoint, you know, I mean, you know, usually the movie that wins is the one that comes out first. Mm-hmm. You know, the first pirate movie, and then everybody went and saw that. Hey, yeah, now they move on. It's like, oh, there's another pirate movie. Fuck
Which
that.
one came out first?
American Me.
Oh wow.
Because American Me, both movies got produced at the same time. Mm-hmm. You know, we were both pretty much on the same calendar, down to the point where we were actually sort of like tripping over each other on locations and things like that. You know, I remember we got to a location in East Los, and the security guys, you know, from the area, you know, oh yeah, the other movie was here last week, man. You know,
wow.
Wow.
So I mean, it was neck and neck, you know. But American Me got finished. It was at a different studio. They finished. They did their post. The movie got done. They did their marketing and everything, and they released the movie. And it went out there, and it got its reviews, and it did whatever business it did. Ours just got held back, starting with the fact of going back to what you said about the giant script. Mm-hmm. Because this thing was huge. It was like 400 pages or something insane, which nobody has a screenplay that big.
Yeah.
So we were all like, oh, they're going to cut this shit, you know, before we get into production. But no, we went into production, and Taylor shot that entire mamotreto.
So there's missing footage? There's footage that hasn't been released?
Yeah.
Are you in a lot of that?
There are some missing scenes of mine that over the years people have said, hey, remember this? And I look at it and I go, oh, that's right, I remember that. That didn't make it into the final cut. But a whole bunch of stuff happened on the way to a release. First of all, Taylor delivered an initial cut that was almost 5 hours long.
Have you seen that cut?
No.
No one's seen it. Do you know anyone who's seen it? Just no.
No, not I.
Because we think we can get it. We talk like how we can get it.
Taylor's not giving it.
you know. But well, I'm gonna get to that. So suddenly now you got this movie that's almost 5 hours long, and of course the studio says, "Fuck no!" It's like, what are you, nuts?
Yeah.
You know.
If there was Netflix back then, they would have grabbed it.
Oh,
Hey, you are getting ahead of me because
Season.
no, it's true. But you are right on, bro. So anyway, but back then it got down to like they're like, okay, we want a 2-hour movie, and Taylor goes, no, there's too much stuff. It's got to be a 3-hour movie. No, 2, no, 3. So what happened is that they got into almost a year of test screenings, and they would cut a 2-hour version and go and test it someplace, and take notes and shit like that. Then they would test a 3-hour movie, back and forth. It got to the point where now, when you have almost 5 hours of content and you try to trim it down to 2 hours, a lot of stuff drops out of there that you need in order to understand this story. So what started to happen, this was kind of funny for us, the actors, although it was more money, is that they kept bringing us back to do what's called ADR, which is when you revoice parts of scenes and things like that. And what they were doing, it got kind of funny because they were like a missing piece of critical information, and they were like trying to figure out, well, how do we get this into the movie? So they literally, I remember I was brought in at one point to say some line, I don't remember what it was about, but it was a line that was really necessary, a piece of information, and they had found a scene, they had found a shot where what you saw in the shot was the back of my head talking to somebody else in the scene. And that was the spot. They said, okay, here's where you're going to say that line. So we're like putting in lines of dialogue on the back of people's heads and stuff.
No way.
Yes.
Cut and paste.
Yeah, cut and paste. Just to get, because it was information that had to be there for the story to make sense. So this went on for almost a year, and us, the actors, we started calling the project Year In, Year Out. Because it's like we're going to be working on this movie, for the next 10 years,
But you're getting paid.
Yeah. Every time they bring you in, they got to pay you some more, another session fee, whatever.
Yeah.
So this goes on for almost a year. Then, in the meantime, the other movie comes out. It gets some reviews that were like, okay, whatever. It did okay at the box office, nothing spectacular, but it was respectable. And then the LA riots happen. The whole Rodney King thing and everything, and they almost burned down the city of L.A. and all that kind of stuff, and now the climate is like this, candente.
Oh, yeah.
And the studio was Disney, and they're like, oh, fuck no, we don't want anything to do with anything that could possibly kick it off again, so they put it on the back burner. Meanwhile, they had been doing marketing for Blood In, Blood Out. And I mean, the posters were out. The trailers were in movie theaters and everything. And the audience was waiting. It's like, okay, Blood In, Blood Out. When is it coming? Then post-riots and stuff, somebody in marketing decides, because then they started testing it again. And they had some, pushing and shoving incidents in some of the theaters, because the guys with the blue handkerchiefs and the guys with the red handkerchiefs.
No way.
Yeah. So that was going on in the lobby, and the studio's like, no. So somebody in marketing says, you know what the problem is? It's the title. It's violent. It's too, that blood shit. Ooh. So he said, change the title and all your problems will vanish and go away. Like magic. You'll see. So they did. So they changed the title to Bound by Honor, because, that sounds noble. Yeah. And that sounds like aspirational and whatever. So Blood In, Blood Out became Bound by Honor, with very, very little marketing done to rebrand the project.
Yes.
And so then by now, all this time has gone by, and somewhere along the line, the decision had been made to, we're not going to do part 2. But we have to button up this movie somehow because it has no ending. So Jimmy wrote an ending scene a year after completion of the original production. That final scene in the movie with the 3 boys running around in the viaduct.
That's pretty cool. They're in the right there, but they're looking at the Picasso.
Yeah, well, that scene was shot a year later.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had to figure out a way to wrap up what was going to be the release. Which is also why when you see the movie, Crucito has short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, people go, oh, why could I think they even put in a line or something about, hey, you got a crew cut or something like that. But that was because it was a year later, and Crucito, who is also a theater actor, was in New York.
Fame.
He was in New York at the time in a production of a play called Wojciech, which is an old European play, and the main character is a soldier. He's a private in the army, and his life is shit. And Crucito was playing Wojciech in New York with a crew cut.
Wow.
And they flew him back to shoot that scene. That's why he has no hair.
I just caught this, and I love that scene. They're looking at the mural.
Yeah.
He drew.
Yeah, well, that's...
You just assume time went by, or he made a decision, but there's a reason for that.
I was thinking it's because he's a druggie.
Whatever.
Yeah,
he was a
people
druggie
write
in the
their own
movie.
scripts. That's fine, but I'm just telling you the real
truth.
No,
Well,
hell yeah.
Yeah, we want to know the truth.
That scene was a year later, you know, and then they changed the title, Bound by Honor, and then they finally released it 2 weeks before Terminator 2.
Oh,
Damn.
So that movie went...
Only in theaters.
Oh, well, yeah, but you see, the trouble with that is that when you're an actor, that's your shot.
I got you now.
That's your shot, you know. And I know that when we were shooting that film, we all felt that we were in something really special. And we all felt that it was going to be a big deal when it came out. And, you know, actors and a lot of us were early in our careers, you know, or just beginning or whatever. And you're looking for a vehicle like a Godfather or a Platoon or those the Big Chill. You know, when you look at those films, that was the content of it. A whole lot of newcomers that weren't fully established, you know, and it took that one vehicle to launch 10 careers or something.
I understand what you're saying.
And we all felt, when this thing comes out, we're all going to go to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, and DVD doesn't do that for you.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that it speaks to how good the film is, you know, that it really has achieved that this not only cult status but classic status.
It has,
because this movie doesn't resonate just with Latinos and just with Chicanos. The world. I mean, in the many years it's been since that movie came out, I have been approached and recognized, you know, and embraced by people all over the world in places that I never expected. Took me by surprise.
Yeah?
You know, I'll tell you one story. A bunch of years ago, we went on safari.
The lions recognized you?
Yeah, the lions came up and wanted to give me chon-chon. No, we went on a safari, bro. We went to Africa.
Oh, wow.
You know, well, it was my treat from the lovely lady over there because she had come into some bread and whatever, and she said, I've always wanted to go on safari, and I'm going. And you can come if you want to. If you don't, I don't care because I'm going anyway. And I'm like, well, okay, you know. So we went to Africa, South Africa specifically, and we went to 3 different safari camps, which is a great experience. I recommend it someday. Put it on the bucket list. It's a terrific thing to do. So our first camp was in South Africa near Cape Town, whatever, and then we were going to go to Botswana, which I had to fly to Botswana, but you had to go to Johannesburg to get the plane to Botswana. And everybody in Cape Town just kept saying, oh, Joburg. Oh, you're going to get killed in Joburg. Oh, be careful. Apparently crime is high.
I got
or
you.
at the time or whatever. And everybody all the South Africans kept telling us about, you know, Johannesburg. Oh, be careful. You're going to die in Joburg. Okay, so we're like, okay, we get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for us, we thought we're only going to fly to the airport. We're only going to be in the airport in Johannesburg, and then we're going to fly to the other gate, walk over to the other gate, and get on the plane to Botswana. So it's like, so that should be cool. So we land in Johannesburg, and we're dragging all our luggage and shit because we're gonna run over to get to the gate to get to Botswana.
You guys get
And we're running through the airport where everybody tells us we're gonna get killed. And halfway there, I hear, "Hey, you!" And I'm like, "What?" And then somebody's yelling, and I look around, and the person is yelling at me. And it's this gigantic African. I mean, this dude had to be 8 feet tall. And he was taller because he had one of those turban things on his head, It's this gigantic guy, and he's pointing at me. And he's going, you right there, And he's lumbering at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck, we didn't make it out of Johannesburg. We're going to die in Johannesburg. Here comes the guy with the spear. And the guy walks right up to me and he goes, you that American actor, right? You Popeye.
And how did you feel when he said that?
Greatly relieved.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, thank you, brother. He's like, oh, you good actor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck me, man.
Dude.
Some guy in Johannesburg, some gigantic guy, and he's seen blood in, blood out, And I mean, like, I have other stories like that in other parts of the world.
Imagine.
I remember in Cuernavaca one time I was walking through the plaza with the Mexican actress, because I was working on a project down there. Suddenly we hear all this honking and horns and beeps and people screaming and yelling. We're like, when you get pasó, we turn around, and some dude had left his car in the middle of the road, jumped out of the car, left all the doors open, and came running up into the park where we were because he was a blood in, blood out fan.
I would have done the same thing back then.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have. If we were shooting someone, they would have stopped. Hey, where's Popeye, dog?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you like stories, right?
Yes.
I got another one of these.
Please.
Yes. Bunch of years ago, again, the lady in the corner gifted me for my birthday a tour because, and at the time I was reading.
You got yourself a good one.
Yeah.
Tours on tours?
Don't tell her.
Don't tell her.
Don't tell her. No.
Hey, my cats my cats don't kick it like this.
It's the price you pay, bro. Yeah. Price of admission. But I do read a lot. And I like to read mysteries. And I like to read mysteries that are set in different locations that are like heavy with the culture of the place and stuff like that. And several years ago, I read my way through all of Tony Hillerman. Tony Hillerman writes his mystery books are set in the Southwest, specifically in the Navajo, on the Navajo reservation. Wow. And his main characters are two Navajo policemen. In fact, there is a television show right now, I think it's on Hulu or something.
Reservoir Dogs.
No, called...
It's not a joke.
No, I know the one you mean, but no. This, I think it's called Dark Winds.
Okay.
It's on right now.
Oh.
A new production. I think it's on Hulu. But that series is taken from the Tony Hillerman books.
Oh,
that's how popular and that's how big he is and stuff like that. And all of the stories happen on the Navajo reservation, and they are full of Native American ritual and customs and tribes. And so I had read my way through all of Tony Hillerman. So the lady in the corner one day one year for my birthday says, guess what? I have bought you the Tony Hillerman tour, which consists of you and a guide in an SUV, and he drives you through the entire Navajo reservation.
Oh, wow.
While narrating, like, okay, and this, in the so-and-so book, that scene, there it is right there. All of the place names and stuff, because, there's a famous mountain called Ship Rock because it's shaped like the prow of a ship. Anyway, so, on the Tony Hillerman tour, it takes about 3 days. Dude picked us up in Albuquerque and drove us, and eventually, 3 days later, dropped us off in Sedona, driving mostly through all the back roads in the Navajos, and you go to the famous canyons, and it's a great tour. In the middle of the tour, we go to we spend half a day up on the Hopi reservation, because the Hopi reservation is in the middle of the Navajo reservation. And it's up on these mesas. There's 3 mesas, and the Hopis are up there on third mesa. So we're going to go see the Hopis that day. And we're driving up to Third Mesa. And on the way up, the guide turns to us and he goes, guys, I know you've been having a great time with your cameras because, because we were shutterbugs and we're always taking pictures, and she says, I know how much you've enjoyed. You've been taking all these pictures. But I have to tell you that the Hopis do not allow photography. They don't play with photography, their whole religious beliefs and things like that.
They take pride.
Yeah, and so it says, so when we get up to the Hopis, please put the cameras away. We'll lock them in the car or whatever. I'm just letting you know. Don't pull out a camera.
They don't do selfies over here.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't play that. So we're like, okay, it's cool. Respect. So we get up there. We pull in to the community center because the main feature up there on Third Mesa is they take you on a walking tour of the oldest continuously populated settlement or pueblo, whatever you want to call it, in North America. It's like this old thing, with the wooden ladders and stuff, whatever. And it's up on Third Mesa. And they don't allow you in there by yourself. You have to go on the guided tour with whatever. So, but in preparation, everybody gets herded into the community center, and then the guide, explains what you're going to see, and the listener shows you an ear of corn, whatever. So we're sitting there, and it's us, and then there's a busload of German tourists and some other random people. And we're listening to the explanation. Our guide was a nice Hopi lady who was about 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide. And her name was Hazel. I'll never forget Hazel. So Hazel gives us the whole spiel and everything, and now it's like, okay, now we're going on the tour. Everybody follow me. And we're all streaming out of the community center, and Hazel is standing by the door. And as we pass, she says to me, I know you. Don't I know you? I know you. And I'm like, oh, honey, I don't know. I mean, sometimes, but, it's like, no, you don't know me. So we go on the tour, and we walk around, and we see everything, and this is where the sacrifices are, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Tour is over. We come back to the community center to say our goodbyes, and everything is good. And then the tour starts to break up. All the Germans start heading for their bus. People are leaving. And Hazel is back. And she goes, I know who you are. You're Popeye. And I'm like, okay, busted. Okay, you got me. You're right. I said, I knew it. And then she starts calling out their friends. Look, I told you, it's Popeye. And then all these Hopis start coming out and surrounding me, And they're like, oh, so happy because, and I'm like, what the fuck? How did you people? What do you mean? Where did you see Blood In, Blood Out? And they say, oh, we have a DVD.
Yeah,
we play it all the time. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And then Hazel goes, I want a picture. I want a picture with Popeye.
And it's not allowed, right?
We're like, well, you know what? We would love to. I mean, but, we were told, so our cameras are all stowed away. Fuck that. I want a picture. Go get the camera. And we're like, you sure? So he said, yes. So we go and we pull our stuff out of the car and everything. Next thing you know, we're posing with the Hopis. Somebody comes and gives me this big fat Hopi baby. So I'm standing up there, taking pictures of all the Hopis. The Germans see this. And they start doubling back from the tour bus. So, Runs, Kameran, this is, hey, jawohl. And the Hopis go, fuck no! Yeah. Get on the bus!
Yeah.
Verboten! Whatever. And so whatever. So they're confused and everything. Everybody else packed up and went away. And we got to take pictures with Hazel and half of the Hopi
Hopis.
Nation and a big fat baby up on Third Mesa because of Popeye. There's a story.
Dude, you don't even know. It's a blessing to have you on. You taught me so much, and one of my buddies met you before, Jesus Trejo. He's a comedian, and he went to Latnif or
La Leaf.
La Leaf.
Yeah.
And you were doing a presentation and talking, and he goes, hey, George, I know you love Popeye. He goes, I met him, homie, and he goes, I never thought this guy was so high in theater. And you exceeded those expectations.
Wow!
Like, hey, I I didn't even want to ask questions. I
What-
love
what-
where you lead and you go and everywhere.
What were you expecting?
You know, what was I expecting? I've been in the game now. I know that your caliber. I honestly thought you were like half black, half Mexican. I didn't know you're from Panama.
Well, I am half black. I'm an Afro Latino. Before that was
no, but I thought
fashionable.
you were from like Compton.
Okay.
And like
Yeah.
American.
Right.
And then I didn't catch it until you're Spanish and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen you in other movies. Your acting's great.
Thank you.
Great. And it's the truth. The Hollywood doesn't want to cast you in something great because you're going to be the reason that they're like, I told you, look, it can be done. And you don't want to do it because you have the caliber to do it, bro. Just how you talk right now. You were jumping in and out of characters easy. You played Indian. You went back to you. I mean,
Yeah. Disservice to Hazel.
She's gonna watch this.
Oh
Yeah, she watches Blood and Blood.
Yeah.
She's gonna watch this. She's a
Yeah.
Popeye fan. She's all up in the Popeye.
Yeah.
something I only have one personal question I want to ask. You and Big Al in that movie have a chemistry that I haven't seen. Like you guys hate and love each other. Like, did you know him before this film?
No.
It's a weird chemistry. How did you feel about his character? Because he plays a racist,
Yeah.
but he makes it funny.
Yeah.
Was that part of the script? It was like, hey, make it funny, like the way you guys do it.
Well, I think that one of the things that makes Popeye so enjoyable, which I discovered in playing him, and I've also discovered in the afterlife, in the aftermath of the whole thing, is the humor.
Yeah, straight up.
And I think you as a comic, you can appreciate that.
Yeah,
and I think part of the thing again with Big Al is I think he also found that it's kind of like it's almost like you're in it, but there's a part of you that can also comment on it.
I got you.
Because you got that sort of third eye, and I think that Al had that, and also, really honestly, just on an acting level, because he was a really good actor.
Yeah, he's in a lot of films.
Yeah, no, he
Dark
really
films
is.
también.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's a thing in acting where. And when you meet new people that you're going to be involved in scenes with and stuff like that, and then and you're total strangers. And usually in films, you are total strangers. You meet that day on the set, So again, in terms of preparation and background and whatever, you got to bring a whole bunch of stuff already because it's not like when you do plays and you rehearse together and you discover shit, And with Big Al, the actor Lionel. Once you started working with him, you went, oh, okay, un veterano. I'm in good hands here. I'm working with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And that frees you. Because you know what, I know that if I take this leap over here, I know homeboy's going to catch me. Because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And there's sort of like this other connection that happens. People sometimes call it chemistry. You always hear that. Like,
what do you call it?
Well, chemistry works. Chemistry, no, but I mean, it is. It's that
No, I know
thing
what
of
you
like,
mean.
it's like, you know what?
A
Okay,
flow.
I'm in good hands here.
Yeah.
I'm in good hands. And you don't feel that with everybody. For different reasons.
I've been there.
I mean, sometimes it's a personality thing. Sometimes it's just a level of experience kind of thing, I mean, when you're working with a beginner, you know it. No criticism, no judgment, but, that's where they are at that moment.
Yeah.
But then that what you put in has to be, you have to sort of take care of the scene a little bit more.
Step your game up.
Yeah. As opposed to like, when you're like, oh, it's like, I know what you're doing. I see where you're going. Oh, really? Well, try this out, and then you're playing.
Okay.
And the whole thing, that's when it's fun. When it turns into play.
Oh, I get you now.
Yeah, it's kind of like music. I'm an amateur musician.
What do you play?
The guitar.
Oh, wow.
But it's totally a hobby, totally, whatever. But, it keeps me busy. Sometimes it clears my head, and about once a month or so, I get together with a group of people, we do have little jam sessions and stuff. Yeah, and it's all on that level and stuff. But the joy is because I've been going to the same group now for long enough that we all kind of are familiar with each other, and everybody kind of says, I know he's good at this, but I'm better at that, and this and that and the other. Mm-hmm. So we are actually able to put together some just jams, where you go for like 10, 15 minutes, just making
natural feeding off each other.
Yeah, and the real joy in a jam is when everybody finds the pocket, what's called the pocket.
Yeah, it's the same thing in comedy as far as sketch is going.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you have that moment where you go, okay, we're rolling now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I don't know where it's going to end. I don't know where it's going, but I don't care because the joy is in the right now. And we're grooving now. We're grooving, and acting is like that too.
Yeah. Well, you're in a lot of projects right now. You also have a film festival.
Yes.
You have a film festival that you're
producing.
Okay. Can you please explain to them what it's about?
Well, you know what? That's also part of the whole activism and community gene and stuff
still
like
keeping
that.
Still fighting for it. Gracias.
Yeah, well, it's like it must just come naturally. Or maybe it's a reaction to the kind of career that I've had. That I go, you know what? I want to make it easier for the next dude.
Thank you.
Like for example, the whole Afro-Latino thing. It's like, thank God, but why did it take Hollywood so long to understand, that there are a whole lot of black Latinos? Come on now, and that's reflected in the jobs, in the parts that are written, in the opportunities. God bless, what's her name? Who played Anita in West Side Story? The last version of West Side Story, the Steven Spielberg one. She won a Tony. No, she won an Oscar. It was a movie. Adriana de Bos.
That's right.
Yes. And everybody went, oh my God, holy smokes, where did this woman come from? Well, she was always there. Her type of woman has always been there. But she's an Afro-Latina, and that she has done such a tremendous service for that part of our community, because it's like, yes. And God bless the Lin-Manuel Mirandas of the world today and stuff like that, because they are writing the entire gamut of what Latinos are and look like. You know that. We got blondies, too. They call them güeros.
Yeah, my grandma has red hair and green eyes.
There
She's
you
from
go.
Guadalajara.
And somebody tells her, some casting director would have the audacity to tell her, you don't look Mexican. It's like, what do you know? I've been told that I don't look Panamanian.
No way.
Yes way.
You look like the president. You do.
So, this film festival, it comes back down to that, again, of that I feel the desire, while I can, to show facets of our community, to show that we are many, many different people, but we all have so much, we have so much more in common.
Oh, yeah.
You can go take a plane to Peru tomorrow, and you go in the middle of the street and go, ay, coño, carajo! And somebody will know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And say, here, calmate, have some ceviche. And so the goal of this film festival, I've been doing it for 8 years now, is to provide, a showcase for our filmmakers, our Latino filmmakers, of all ages, and also of all nationalities. So it's an international film festival because I think it enriches all of us to learn and know about what is going on in our other communities and in other parts of the world.
Yes.
So I show films from all over Latin America.
That's great.
Yeah.
We don't get to see that unless it's like someone that's like, hey, my friend, he works for the screeners, and we burned this movie that didn't make it. Here you go.
Yeah. So, a big part of the mission of the film festival is just that, is just to create exchanges, networking opportunities. I don't know if people know that there are wonderful locations, where you can go and shoot all over Latin America. And not only that, if you dig a little deeper, that there are financial incentives that are available if you know where to look, if you know, and of course, talent.
I don't even know this.
Well, do you know?
So how do we get to know this? What's the log on?
Well,
What's
if
the
you want to
handle?
know, if you want to know more about my film festival,
Yes.
it's easy. The website is PIFFLA.
Okay.
.com. PIFLA.com with two F's.
Uh-huh.
That's Panamanian International Film Festival in Los Angeles, but that is so fucking long. So, if you just enter PIFLA.com with two F's, and that'll take you to the website, and you can find out more information about the festival itself and this year and the dates and stuff like that. So that's there. I'm already excited because I've gotten a bunch of films. I started it because the story I started telling about myself personally was that I felt that I had to leave Panama when I got the bug because there was no industry there. There was no opportunity. There was nothing there.
You were a big fish in that small pond.
Well, yeah, but now I can go back. In fact, I'm getting ready to go back because now there is a film industry down there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So wait up. You say you get recognized in Africa and all these places. How is it in Panama? Like, how's the love out there? Is it different? Have they seen Blood and Blanas or do they get it in Spanish?
It's a different.
Blood in, Blood out is not in Panama. It's not a big thing, like it is here. And in fact, in Panama is an interesting place because it's kind of more like Miami.
So if you would have done Scarface, it would have hit differently.
Like they would be more tuned to like Speed.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I thought you were asking about the whole racial mix and thing because Panama is everything.
Yeah,
racial,
right,
it's like everything. Negro, blanco, rubio,
Todo.
judío,
Prieto.
cristiano, prieto, de todo, So, but they now have a film industry which has been evolving over the last 25 years or so, and they're making some serious movies down there now.
Good.
Yeah, and starting to make noise like on the international festival circuits and things like that. And when I first started the festival, one of the things that I was looking to do was to expose some of the Panamanian content up here in LA and whatever, again, for networking purposes, for exposing people and everything. But the output in Panama is not sufficient to sustain an entire film festival. So I opened the doors. I said, it's Latin America,
Yes.
And that's been pleasing, too, because now I get stuff from countries that I never thought, like I'm learning, too, like, they have a film industry? Places like Salvador.
I didn't even know that.
Well, I know. Last year I showed a film from El Salvador, a pretty damn good movie,
What's that movie, Sin Barreras?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one, Amores Perros? There's a lot that you don't see that are...
Like the City of God, that one from Brazil?
That's from Brazil.
That one.
Yeah. I've been getting some really good stuff from Costa Rica.
Okay.
And it's serious stuff. I mean, it's not like rinky-dinky, homemade looking movies. These are the serious films.
Yeah, Sin Barreras, Amores Sin Perros are crazy movies that...
Yeah.
I don't think you can even play that shit in American theater.
Yeah. Amores Perros was Mexican.
Yeah, it's Mexican. Yeah, Mexican.
Yeah, I knew one of the actresses in that. I worked with her a long time because I've shot in Mexico a bunch of times. And I love Mexico, But anyway, yeah.
Like the other big one, Y Tu Mamá También.
Tu Mamá También?
Hey, that's a crazy movie.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great movie. Recently, somebody was asking me, like, who is Simón Bolívar? What's all this stuff about Simón Bolívar, And I'm like, hey, dude, you need to check out the movie. There's a great movie about Simón Bolívar from Venezuela.
Oh.
Because people don't know who Simón Bolívar is. And I'm saying,
I don't. I'm sorry.
No idea.
Well, he's the easy way to say it is like he's the George Washington of South America.
Oh, okay.
South America, the U.S. was attached to England and Mexico to Spain, but Mexico all the way down the American continent were all tied to. It was all colonies of Spain. The entire continent practically.
Yeah.
And the entire continent broke away from Spain, kind of like in a domino effect, in 1828, led by Simón Bolivar. Venezuelan general, and he was a conquistador, and he led the army, and he broke Venezuela away, and by then things, there's a great movie called El Libertador, which tells the whole Simón Bolivar story.
I'm learning so much from you.
This is Latin American history, bro.
Yeah, gracias.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the coyote history. I know the routes. I know the routes to get us over here.
And if you want to see some great filmmaking, and then I'll get off it.
No,
Argentina.
Okay.
Tremendous film industry and tremendous output and super, super high quality. In fact, one of my favorite film actors in the world is an actor named Ricardo Darín, who you would give yourself a treat if you looked up some of his movies. He's like the De Niro of Argentina. It's just a fabulous, fabulous actor, and his movies are great. And he's a tremendous range, everything from heavy drama to like wacky comedy. Ricardo Darín.
Do you like Guillermo Del Toro?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, the director. Yeah.
He's great, yeah.
Look at how far we're coming, because all of the the Oscar nominations for Best Director.
I know, yeah.
Del Toro, Iñárritu, all these guys, and they're making great movies. And the thing I like about their movies is that they're not necessarily like, oh, this is a Latin movie. No, it's just a movie.
Yeah, forget the captions.
Yeah, and or that it's about the hood or whatever. It's like no, they're just great films about stuff. Birdman, what the hell is that about?
For real?
Yeah, Latino director.
Exactly, that was a good one.
Yeah,
that was good. They said it was taking one shot only, right?
Basically, yeah. He rehearsed it that way. That's kind of a thing that's been happening in filmmaking now, that a lot of films are coming out there saying this was all done continuously.
Yeah. That's too hard.
So then we brought that up. If Blood In, Blood Out wouldn't have taken that 1 year break for the last film, you think it would have been a different outcome?
Oh my God, there were just so many factors involved. I don't know. But thank you for bringing that up again, because we got to get back. We got to go back around, circle back around to the Netflix thing.
Yes.
Because, again, like I said, originally the plan was to make 2 movies. There was going to be part 1, part 2, and they had been written. And a whole bunch of us signed 2-picture deals. It's like, so that was part of the incentive. It's like, oh, dude, you're not getting cast in 1 movie. You're getting cast in 2 movies back to back. Well, number 2 never happened. And for because Hollywood is Hollywood. If you release your $30 million movie and it makes $5 million at the box office.
Bye-bye.
It is a flop.
Yes.
An official flop. Bye-bye. Goodbye. And yeah, you're right. DVD video is what rescued it and has kept it going and has elevated it to the status that it has today, and so forth and so on. Now, people keep asking me, because I've started recently, I didn't used to do them, but in the last 2-3 years, like just right before the pandemic, I started to do meet and greets, and go out. And I hooked up with a promoter. He works out of Texas, and he puts these events together and whatever, and he's specializing.
Yeah, I've seen it. You, Magic, and Miklo.
Yeah, all working with the same guy.
Yeah.
And he just reached out one day and said, hey, why don't you come down? Why don't you do this? We're making money here and everything. And I'm like, no, go away. Leave me alone. I was the same way. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not going to straighten my hair.
Yeah, right. It's like, you're out of luck. I don't have hair anymore. So, no, but I mean, the guy was friendly and everything. And I flew down. I checked it out. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. But not just because of the money thing, but I discovered that I enjoy meeting the people. They
love you. We love you.
Well,
we love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could walk down L.A. and I bet you nobody would jump you. They would give you a ride home, tamales, todo. Que la pinga, ven para acá. For real.
And another story. You like stories.
Yeah, dude, keep it going.
So I'm walking down my block, just like, I didn't take it. I'm just like, like when you're home and you're wearing a ratty T-shirt and shit. I'm walking down the street to go around the corner for something. And I run into a neighbor of mine, gringo, they don't know from blood in, blood out. And we're just chatting because we're neighbors. So did you hear about this and that? So we're having our conversation. And a sheriff's, put it down.
Yes.
And a sheriff's SUV comes by, and we see it go by. And then I notice, slam on the brakes. And the backup lights go on. And the tires are spinning. And then the SUV comes back up to where we are. Comes right alongside. And we're both going like, oh, what happened? It's the cop. And then the dude sticks his head out the window and he goes, Popeye! And I'm like, yeah? And he goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I live here. Gotta live someplace. I live in West Hollywood. And my neighbor is like, what the fuck's going on? And then the guy goes, I'm good on that.
Go ahead.
He goes, I can't believe it. I just said goodbye to my buddy. He's going to die when I tell him I saw you here. Oh, my God. I'm like, well, it's cool. It's chill, whatever.
Yeah.
Can we take a picture? I was like, yeah, man. And this was in the pandemic. So we did like the whole fist and the thing and whatever. And they took a picture. He goes, oh, man, this is so great. And they sped off, and then my neighbor, by now he's totally confused. He's an American guy. And I explained to him and said, no, it's this film I did, and there's a big fan base and whatever. He said, oh, wow, really? I never knew that. I was like, and we're having this conversation, and suddenly all these cop cars show up. 5 of them.
Wow.
And they all stack up behind each other, block off the street completely. Because the dude had gotten on the radio, and he told his buddies, it's like, and he gave them the spot.
Yeah?
And I think half of West Hollywood deputies all came to my street, blocked off the street because they were all like, and they all wanted selfies. And they stand by the car and everything like that. And my neighbor was in shock.
Yeah, he's like, we'll never get in trouble again.
Yeah, he did not know what was going on, whatever, and everything. And I was a little like, wow, I hope the neighbors don't think this is a bust or something like that.
I thought you were going to say, like, when they pull you over in the movie, hey, you shouldn't be fucking with me. You should be riding with me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've started doing Cameo.
Yo, yes. I seen that.
Yeah.
Can you explain what Cameo is? Because I guarantee a lot of cholos don't know what that is.
Yeah, they know what Cameo is.
Nah, I don't know.
No, they don't think it's the group Cameo. Come on.
The second thing is webcamming.
Okay, go ahead.
Cameo is a website where you can request celebrity shout-outs, for occasions, for weddings or birthdays. And so it's like if I know you have a birthday coming up and you like, I don't know, Eddie Murphy or something. I don't even know if he's on Cameo, but I can go on there and ask him to, wish you a happy birthday and whatever, and you pay whatever his rate is, because everybody posts a different kind of rates, and so that's a way to, like if you
make some bread. Hey, it's there.
Hey,
the
it's
pandemic
there,
hit.
For years, people have been telling me, you should do the merchandise. You should do the thing.
Yes.
I know. And
you can sell calzones and make a killing.
What's the most common phrase you get on Cameo?
The chonchon.
The chonchon? Yeah.
You
know what? Okay. I'm going to
George
tell
wants
you
a cameo.
this.
George wants a cameo.
No, I'm going to get a cameo, but I'm going to get it later. I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
I was going to make him wear the red underwear. When you walk in, we were going to wear the afros and underwear. But I didn't want to scare you off.
Oh, like these dudes are crazy.
You're like, all right, man, these guys are going to kidnap me.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like I've been doing the Cameo, and it's fun. Again, I like the fans. Yeah. They're really cool people, and they're interesting. I love to hang with them. I had a situation. Shout out to, oh God, what is your name? Mercedes the Pimp. Mercedes the Pimp out there in Tucson, Arizona. If you hear this, because I met her at a meet and greet, and she freaked me out. Because Mercedes the Pimp, you can find her. I'm sure you can find her on TikTok.
Oh, she's going to get famous now.
She's queen. She's queen of social media. She's been doing it a lot longer than me. And she's a lovely lady. She's a very well endowed lady. So I'm there, and I'm signing stuff for people, and I see this lady, in line waiting her turn, and she's quivering and she's excited and whatever. And then it's her turn, and she's got this broad smile on her face. And I noticed that her top, we're talking seriously plunging cleavage over seriously generous tatas, which she is actually holding up and pointing in my direction and approaching. And I'm like, okay. And she presents them to me and says, I want you to sign them. And I'm like, really, for real? And she goes, oh, yes, it was so exciting. Oh, Popeye, and I'm looking down. I'm like, and these things are not small. And it's like, and I'm not even sure if they're fully out or what. But, the customer's always right.
Yeah, hey, exactly.
What are you going to do?
Shout out to Mercedes.
You got
the pimp.
consent.
So it's
a request.
It's a request, and so I signed Mercedes the pimp's tatas. And of course, nowadays everything gets put on a phone and things like that and whatever. And by that evening, I get a message from someone. It's like, what have you done? Because Mercedes the pimp is an influencer, and apparently
It went
I
viral.
had gotten something like a 500,000 views on Instagram or whatever it was. Never in my life, and it was like, oh my God, But you know what? That's fun.
Yeah.
Because and it's also about the people that I really, really enjoy meeting the people and talking to them. And sometimes I interview them.
Oh, that's good.
No, because I say okay, tell me, what is it? What do you like about this movie? What is it that speaks to you about this film?
You haven't asked me that.
What is it that you like about this movie? What is it that speaks to you about this film?
Oh, he loves this movie.
Apart of the fact that you have a crush on Popeye. And no, you can't have no choncho.
They've always labeled my people, my culture as badasses, cabrones, and I don't know, the way you guys did it, you guys gave a message of hey, if you want to be a cabron, this is what's going to happen to you. And and just no disrespect to American me, but you can see that theatrical in Blood In, Blood Out, the better acting, the comedy, the literature of it. It was, and then your character is so funny and real. What's that movie, Back to the Future, where they got famous quotes? Your whole character, every time you say something, it's a quote. You could say it at any party. You could just say it at any party. Hey, Cinderella, go find yourself a fella. Orale. We just go off on each other. Whenever my kids want something, I'm like, wait just a minute, Your Majesty. This isn't the joint, homeboy. This is the streets. And then speaking to you now on a personal level, I understand it. You're a high caliber actor. And how you compared. What was that word he said earlier on how the rhythm of Shakespeare? You did that in your character. You set the bar. Mm-hmm. You set the bar. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there'll ever be another Popeye in that character ever. Ever. And
we've talked about a part 2 where you can't do it.
No, because we were thinking about casting.
Who you gonna cast? Who you gonna cast on who?
At Hollywood, they would probably give your part to Tom Hanks' son. Like how you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They would you know what I mean? They'd have Ryan Seacrest play,
Miklo.
Miklo. You know what I mean? Hey, but Bonafide, he came out on a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Delroy.
Yeah, Delroy.
Yeah, he did well. Yeah. Well, no, that's interesting because I think that is what I get when I talk to people about it, because it is not a one-dimensional movie.
No.
It's not like, Scarface or something, and hello to my little friend,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. But it's okay, fine, that's good, that's entertainment.
Uh-huh.
But Yeah, but Blood and Blood does show the community, the people. It operates on so many different themes: loyalty, friendship, family. Family is a big one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, when I do the meet and greets and stuff, it's impressive because
People bring their grandmas and stuff, huh?
I get entire families. You know, you get whole family. You get grandmas and stuff, and the little kids with their chopped up bicycles and stuff. It's
And you know how George kind of seems like it kind of influenced him? The movie? It did the whole opposite to me. I learned, like, I don't want to be there. I'm not going in. So it was either
that's
you.
the great message.
It's either you give someone the message like George, or you give someone like me, where like, yo, it's either you're gonna fucking. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Like, are you ready? Because that's what showed you by fuck around, find out. That's what that movie is.
I thought that was part of it too. I remember when we were getting ready to, before we started shooting, and because we were going to shoot in San Quentin, you know, I mean, that's...
I've been there.
Oh, my God. So was Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, that was the whole thing. But Taylor insisted he wanted to shoot in San Quentin because for the atmosphere and...
Were those real inmates in there, too?
Yes, sir. They were.
Oh, wow.
Shit. How'd they separate you guys? Like, did you have to wear a certain kind of shirt or color?
I believe that we had vests to wear, like
Okay.
when we weren't shooting.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, they got the shooters up on
I've
the
been
towers.
there, brother. I've been there.
Yeah, you know. And I remember Miklo almost got shot one time.
No way.
Yeah, because, you know, he freaked him out. Well, you know, Damien sometimes goes off on his own thing. But this is...
We're mind blown right now. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Well,
so
no,
he
it was
wasn't wearing
just-
his vest?
Yeah, he wasn't wearing his vest, and he started running after somebody.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
But the word came back down, you know, that the security guy, he had him in the sights. He was
It's not security, it's correctional officer.
whatever it was, the dude with the rifle.
Yeah, the tower guy.
Yeah.
And
Those
it says no warning
Oh, those
shots.
are real bullets. They're not
Oh,
fucking
they got-
around.
no.
Yeah, they got block, they got rubber, and then they got the one for the riot. There's 3 of them in there, brother. There's 3 big pistolas. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
don't be sorry, man. I mean, you know, but the word, we got the word through the system, you know, a few minutes later, like, tell your actors, again, you know, we all got gathered around and lectured again.
Damn.
Because I don't know what was going on, but he did. He didn't have the vest on, and I think he was trying to catch up with one of the makeup girls or something. Oh. And he was, no judgment.
Yeah.
But we got the word down, it's like that one of your actors almost got shot. And you need to understand, and blah.
Serious?
We got the finger wagging and the lecture because Miklo was in the guy's sights. Damn. And he just, something told him, well, there's a bunch of Hollywood queers here and there. Maybe I should, you know, whatever. And he backed off the trigger.
Uh-huh.
But it did happen. But my point, though, is about because we were shooting in that prison, we got so much prep. We got taken up there, you know, before we ever shot. We had a day trip that they took us all up there to show us around, meet the corrections officers. They walked us around and stuff. And I remember the first time they took us out over this parapet that overlooked the yard. And I'll never forget that when I looked down and saw the yard. And there's the story. There's the whole story right there. You know,
You could feel it, huh? What's going on down there?
Yeah. You know, and the black guys over there, and the white guys over there, and you know, it's
The
like
raza.
Yeah, and they don't mix,
No.
and you see it all right there.
They would pull you apart.
Yeah, I know. And
So
funny thing,
there is. I've never been somewhere you can feel the tension. George talks about like, yo, when shit's popping off, the second you
Well,
walk
it's not that
in
you can
there,
feel the tension. You could just see the way it's ran. It's a whole different world of like,
yeah,
you really stick together
yeah,
off
Yeah.
of look.
and it is palpable. At least for me, it was. I mean, you walk in there. First of all, you got to go through so many layers of security. And
Did they strip
gates.
search you guys?
Oh yeah, no, strip searching, no.
But they patted you down because people are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the thing and everything, and going through all your stuff
Yeah.
and everything, and we had to do that every day.
Yeah.
oh, so you guys
Just
went
to
in
go
and
in.
out.
Nobody's gonna sleep there.
I don't know, I thought they would have gave you guys a cell. I was like, give me a cell. You cut the cost, but the hotel price.
Yeah, trust me, homie.
You're tripping, bro. Wow.
What if they gave you $1 million?
To sleep in there?
Yeah.
I don't need it. I have Cameo.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, my God.
Hit up the Cameo.
No.
I thought you were a real gangster when I first seen it.
Yeah?
I thought, I was like, dude, this fool's. I thought you were going to come out with the hip hop album. Like, I thought you were, like, you. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Whatever made you think that of me?
It's just so ruthless and hard.
No, but really, it's serious going in there, and you can feel it and stuff like that. And yes, those were real guys. But to your other point about the lesson that you took away from it, because I remember on that first visit and seeing the thing and feeling the atmosphere and everything like that, I said, this should be a school trip. I mean, really.
They do it now.
For all they should. I mean, definitely, and they should keep doing it. For all those young
Trouble
hot
kids.
studs
Yeah.
in their.
See, but I think there's one or the other. Either that kid's gonna love it or hate it. Because that's what that movie is. It's either they love it or they hate it. You're like, I can do this. I'm as bad as that motherfucker
No, but
is.
the
Or
movie-
you're like me, where you're like, yo, nah, fuck this. I'd rather work at
No,
McDonald's.
but look, the movie wasn't made for you to choose a side.
Oh, no, definitely
Yeah.
not. No, I just see it as someone, either you see it one way or the other.
Yeah.
I'll give you from experience. When I was in prison, they brought those kids in.
Oh, really? You
Yeah,
saw
they
those?
brought the kids in, and it's a parent that signs and says, my kid hasn't done nothing bad, but I want to let them know.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I didn't have everyone was like, "What's up, yo, fools?" And I didn't have the heart to be like, I'm not gonna yell at a kid, eh?
It's not that
I
bad.
really wanted to tell the parent, why you bringing them here, eh? Why don't you show this kid some love? Like, you want to show him fear, show the kid love and other shit, and they won't go. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be like, because, hey, dog, some of those kids, I can see they were pissed, they were scared and pissed, and like, I don't know. I don't think scaring someone into crying is gonna help.
Yeah, there's a stupid show called Scared Straight. It's called Scared Straight.
Yeah,
They're supposed to scare
yeah.
you fucking straight.
Just not.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about scaring them. I'm just talking about showing it to them.
Yes, showing it
Like,
exactly.
look, this is what it is. I mean, and
Washing your clothes in your toilet.
Yeah, do you really want to be here? I mean, I don't know. It's like it's intense. It was intense going in there, and oof.
Prison has evolved since you guys. You know how you guys shot it. You know the
Yeah.
chow line.
Yeah.
You no longer get to see who gives you food. It's all in. Cause when I was in prison, I was in the butcher shop, and they put the knives and there's a chain to it, and you
Yeah.
can't be a certain distance from everybody else.
Do they do that so what happened in the movie doesn't happen in real life?
No, it's
Like, how you didn't give them food? You're like, oh, you don't get the pork chops. Like, is that
well,
is
it's
that
just,
reason kind of why?
Look, dog.
I know it's a movie, but I'm asking.
Okay, I'll tell you this. Once Popeye walked in, anybody touched him, the whole yard would have jumped. Like, it's any disrespect triggers off an effect. The reason the child line is like that is because people are passing stuff all in and out. It's better for you not to see who's feeding you. Because some people are going to be like, I don't want to get fed by a black guy. I don't want to get fed by a white guy. I don't want to get fed by an Asian or Samoan. So, but it's different. Some prisons, I was fed, self-fed. Throw it in. It matters where you're at.
Right.
It matters where you're at.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Let's get a tour going. Let's go. All right?
I don't think so.
I just want to say thank you so much
Are
for
we
coming
done?
down. I mean, do you have to go anywhere?
No. But I mean, that went by fast.
Yeah, how long has that been? 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
An hour 54 to be exact, but yeah.
We can keep going. Do you want
Yeah,
to
we
take a little
love
break,
it.
eat real quick, and come back or finish up?
You
It's up
smoke
to
a
you.
cigarette, yeah? He's probably
No. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up because we got the long drive back to the thing.
What freeway are you guys taking back?
The 5.
The 5?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to take you. I'm sponsored by a restaurant that has ceviche and all kinds of great food. I would love to take you guys there. Unless you're in a hurry.
Oh, no, I just, as long as we're back, because I have the cat and the dog.
Oh, yeah.
It's 3:30.
Oh, yeah, it'll be traffic.
We're going to hit a lot of traffic.
Yes.
Yeah. But
We'll catch you. We'll do a rain check on
Yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
They got fish tacos, shrimp tacos, ceviche,
Taco
pastor-
naso.
Taco naso. They're huge.
But I wanted to just double back around one time. What?
if you do, I mean, we can
No. We're going to wrap it up. We are going to wrap it up.
All right.
What was I going to say? Oh, because the officers, we were talking about the officers before, and it's kind of funny because, and you were talking about the quotable lines and people in the lines and stuff like that. Because ever since I've been doing the cameo stuff, like people ask, they say, "Can you say this? Can you say that?" And lately I've been getting a lot of requests from officers.
Yeah, dude, you're
It's like
Police officers?
yes, yes.
You grew up on this movie.
And they want me to tell him to suck my pee-pee.
Oh,
I haven't
damn.
laughed like that in a long time. What do I tell my P.O.?
Yeah, it's like, and it's funny, man, but the thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the cameo requests, they get. I think that Popeye is morphing into Don Rickles.
Yes. No, you are.
Because what people mostly seem to love is for me to insult the fuck out of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
And the nastier Popeye gets, the more they
love it.
So I do all these cameos. But, hey, man, you walk 'em funny. You look a little bow-legged to me. Hey, and that's so that's kind of fun too. But it gets back to the humor thing. That I think that's part of what's attractive and what you said about Big Al and stuff like that.
Yeah, your chemistry.
Is that finding a way to just enjoy it, you know, and again, with Big Al, I would have loved to have worked with him again.
You guys would have been. I think you guys would have been great.
Yeah,
great.
Because he's very good actor, and he really did bring it.
Yeah, sorry, no tortillas. I see a little. He's like, I see a little ray of sunshine at the end of the line. I remember first watching it, go, who the fuck is this white boy talking to? Eh? I told my dad, hey, Dad, is that what's going on in prison? He's like, it's a movie, cálmate.
Somebody brought me a can of beans to sign one time.
Yeah?
And I'm like, what the hell? At these meet and greets, because people bring you all kinds of weird shit. Yeah. So somebody brought me a can of beans. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Just if I can sign chichis,
you can sign beans.
I can sign beans. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, it's been fun.
Thank you so much. It was there'll never be another you, brother. You are still to this day. Please keep pushing this film festival. People like me, people like him, Chicanos, Latinos, Panamanian, Ecuadorian, Cuban, Peruvian, Colombian, all Latinos. Yeah.
The day we stop fighting with each other, poof, we're going to take over the world.
Straight up.
Yeah, and plus we got so much to love. I love Mexico. I love Mexican people. I love Mexican culture. But I also love Argentina.
Yeah.
And I love their films. And, we have so much,
Well, when it comes to soccer, though, who do you go for?
That's the only place for racist. That's the only place you can be racist, dog.
Yeah.
I went to see Mexico play Panama one time. At where's it, the Rose Bowl or something?
The Home Depot Center.
Yes.
Carson.
Yes. And there we were. And, of course, it was a sea of Mexico and the flags and the people and the gritos and the thing. And every now and then you'd spot a little Panamanian flag or a little or somebody waving a hat and shit. We're like, okay, we gotta stay low here, Guess who won?
Panama.
Yeah.
What happened?
He stayed real quiet.
Yeah.
He stayed real quiet. He knew he was at.
So we left early.
Yeah.
Celebrate it, though. You guys got to celebrate it.
Well, okay. Yes. So, Panama finally made it to the World Cup.
I know. I think I remember watching that game.
Yeah, and they lost right away.
Yeah. It's tough.
But in Panama, it was a huge celebration. They gave them a big-ass parade when they came back.
That's
treated
great.
them like heroes because they got there.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Talking about resources and stuff. Like, the other teams got so much money to train, resources.
Yeah. But you know what? We all love the sport.
You guys got to celebrate it.
We all love the culture. We all love
Mexico's-
each other. So, here I am. I'm just a big pussy. for peace and love and brotherhood.
That's what's up. Pues gracias once again for coming. Where can all my fans find your cameo so they can do a request? What's your Instagram? What's your Twitter?
At Popeye Bibo. Popeye, B-I-B-O, because it's blood in, blood out.
Eso.
Yeah. So at Popeye Bibo will work.
Awesome.
All right?
You're going to get a lot of my boys and my chon chon. Give me my boy, my chon chon.
Yeah.
Could I get a cameo right now?
I don't know.
All right.
How do you do that?
No, just right now to the camera. If you can just say, "Hey, this is Popeye Acevedo from you were from Vatos Locos, right?"
Yeah.
And say, and I'm.
Here, tell George in the camera. Congratulations.
Hey, George. This is Popeye Saavedra, from the Vatos Locos. I've enjoyed doing your show, although, I don't know, it got on my nerves a little. You could be kind of pushy, you know what I'm saying? But hey, good job, man. Good job. I'm going to come back, because I'm going to come back and get me some chon chon. All right.
Gracias. Hey, this is George Perez Stories. This comes out. I don't know what's going to come out, but we're going to drop it. If you want to see me, I'm on tour right now, the Take a Shower tour. I'll be at the Comedy Store. I'll be at the Hollywood Improv. I'm going to be at the Observatory August 27th. Tickets are almost sold out. There's like 100 left, guys. Stop waiting for your Thea's credit card to clear. Go get your tickets now. X.
Hit that like button. This was a huge milestone for us. Thank you for coming on,
Yes.
boss. You don't understand. These people are going to love it. So we appreciate it. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
De nada. You're welcome. We'll do it again.
Yes, please. This is George Perez Stories. Once again, guys, with that being said, take a shower, Panama Power. Late.